So what is the best budget 1080p graphics card in 2021? In this video, we're gonna build a budget gaming PC featuring AMD's brand new Radeon RX 6600 XT, which, according to AMD, is supposed to be the ultimate 1080p graphics card. But is it? Let's find out. In this video guys, I'm gonna build this budget gaming PC featuring AMD's brand new Ryzen 5 5600G APU coupled with their brand new Radeon RX 6600 XT graphics card before looking at some gaming benchmarks at 1080 and 1440p with ray tracing, so you get a good idea what frame rate to expect with a $900 or so budget gaming PC build. Now for this budget, scalper-proof gaming PC, I am once again picking the brand new Ryzen 5 5600G with onboard Vega graphics or the previous gen Ryzen 5 3600. Now as it turns out guys, both performs quite similar when it comes to raw gaming performance. Both sits around $200 and both rocks a 6-core and 12-thread chip, which will be a perfect match for the Radeon 6600 XT. And don't worry guys, we're gonna look into much more gaming benchmarks after we complete the PC build. Now another cool idea with an APU is that you can pick this up as a stopgap and game on it until GPU prices reaches normal levels. Right now the 6600 XT is still quite hard to get a hold of, and if you struggle to find one, I strongly argue that you shouldn't pay anything more than its $379 MSRP. Anyway, to install the CPU, we're gonna need a motherboard, and Gigabyte has done a great job putting together budget-oriented motherboards for Ryzen, and this is a favorite. Now the B550 comes with 5th gen Ryzen and 4 DIMM slot support, right now selling for around $99. However, if you do want to get away as cheaply as possible here, I highly recommend going for the B450M and the Ryzen 5 3600 combo. Anyway, match up the triangle located at the left side corner with the triangle or circle on the motherboard, lift up the lever, line up the triangles, then gently place the CPU in its socket, then lower the lever and the CPU is installed. Next up, let's go ahead and get the CPU cooler ready for installation, and to no surprise, we are once again picking the included stock cooler. Now as can be seen guys, this heatsink is actually quite good, running any game outer without ever running too hot or being too loud. Anyway, the cooler installation process is super simple. Make sure that the AMD logo is facing the I/O, just like so, and that the 4 screws lines up with the holes. Then carefully tighten the cooler down in a pattern something like so. Next up we have RAM. Now this is Corsair Vengeance RGB Pro 16GB kit, and it sits at around $100. If you don't care about addressable RGB, you can get away as cheaply as $76 for a dual kit. But anyway, I'll link up my favorite deals down below for you guys. Following that we have the SSD, and this is a budget unit from Kingston that I've been using pretty much for all of my budget PC builds. Definitely worth every penny when it comes to price and performance. Now the M.2 easily slides into its socket with a sort of a 45-degree angle and will be fastened into place using the pre-installed M.2 screw. Now the case we're working with is the TUF GT301 from Asus, packed with 4 fans in total, where 3 are addressable. The GT301 is a powerhouse when it comes to RGB customization and airflow. Now lately I've been falling in love with high quality airflow cases, and I'm happy to report that the TUF GT delivers on that. It has quite a small footprint though, something worth having in mind before you go ahead and decide you want to put a 360 radiator inside here. There is a limitation of space between the motherboard and the ceiling of the case, so yeah, do have that in mind guys. But for a stock CPU cooler build, we have no problems as can be seen. Before installing the motherboard, don't forget the motherboard I/O shield guys, we find inside the motherboard box. This goes in from the inside of the case. And now we can go ahead and secure the motherboard. Now these screws guys comes provided by Asus and can be found in the plastic bag that comes with the TUF GT. Next thing, we're going to install the power supply, but first guys, let's go ahead and deal with some of the case cables, the power button and the front I/O, so we don't have to deal with that stuff later. First up, we have the USB 3 and this is what it looks like. The header is located down at the bottom of the motherboard. Moving on to the front HD audio, and this cable goes to the left side corner. Lastly, we have the front panel connectors and you find this on the lower right side. Grab the power supply, slide it into its slot, make sure guys you got the fan facing downwards and secure it. Now we're gonna do just a few more cables before it is time for the big one, the graphics card. Anyway, first up, take the 24-pin power cable and plug it into the largest header we find at the mid right side of the motherboard. Next up, we got the 8-pin power for our processor and this one goes all the way up to the top left side corner. The case also needs a SATA power connector to get power to the RGB button we find at the front of the case. With that done, let's move on to the graphics card. Now this is the Radeon RX 6600 XT, built to be the ultimate 1080p graphics card, but yeah, it turns out throughout my gaming benchmarks that it's quite good for 4040p gaming as well, and we're about to witness that in just a second. Now the 6600 XT comes with 8GB of G6 memory and 32MB of Infinity cache, which yeah, it should be said guys, is a little bit disappointing to see, as more cache would have been better for higher resolutions. Still though, the 6600 XT is able to hold up pretty good at both 4040p and especially 1080p as can be seen. Now if we take a look at the gaming benchmarks, running 18 of some of the most popular games at both resolutions shows that the 6600 XT is able to provide us with respectable frame rate in most of the games tested. Again, 1080p runs like a dream, but even 1440p is certainly possible, even when having ray tracing turned on. For example, running Call of Duty Warzone, we're able to max out the game at both resolutions with ray tracing turned on. Metro Exodus Enhanced Edition, as well as Crysis Remastered, also ran fairly alright with ray tracing turned on. Now here's what the final part list is looking like. You should be able to pick up all parts new for around $900 for the B550 and Ryzen 5 3600 combo. Now if you decide to opt for the 5600G and the B550 AM board, you're looking at a total of about $1100. Now this video guys took me quite a lot of time to complete, so leave a like or a dislike and make sure to subscribe to never miss any of my future gaming PC builds. Thank you so much for watching.